but Norman, I know, just when you thought it couldn't get worse. You know, the thing about them is, and I think what really is going to separate this season from all the rest is that, you know, they up until now they've been so interconnected. So and I think what we're going to be seeing is autonomy this year, and separation, and a disconnectedness, and it's reached that boiling point by episode 2, and I think throughout the years of strife, you know, she's had this perpetual, you know, year after year, she just lassos him with her umbilical cord, and I think that cord is frayed at this point. And it breaks, and he is released, and she's come to a point, I think, you see between them is this, they're lost in this labyrinth, this maze, this murky maze of strife and guilt and torture and sadness and grief and instability, and so much so that they've just even lost track of each other trying to find their way out now. So that's where they're at together.
Well, we've seen in the past where Norman gets very unraveled when he's not around Norma. But with him being in this institution, how is Norma? Is she liberated in a way, or is she still, you know, kind of spiraling herself?
You're always, I think, as a mom, I mean, from just a paternal perspective, it's just like you're, you know, having a special needs child like this, you're always reeling. You can't just, they're not forgettable.
Yeah.
But I think but she has come to a point, and I think what you're going to see from Norma this year as well, she's just stronger and bolder, and emerges like a phoenix. She has a metamorphosis. She's going to be she's a beautiful butterfly to me this year. And there's a wisdom, and that hopefully that she's attained from all, especially from all the harrowing events of the last several years. Yeah. I think she's emerged just stronger and more capable. And so I think she's girded with, you know, whatever's, you know, how she's emerged from all of that, I think has girded her with it. And she has an indelible sort of spirit of positivity, which has been her grace, which I cherish about her, and I love portraying that, and you know, she will not be, you know, I've always said that, I've repeatedly, you know, even for her, you know, she's always putting one foot in front of the other and going forward, and even if she's falling down on her face, she's still going forward. Yeah. You know.
Can you talk a little bit about the process of collaborating on, you know, Norman's bad Norma, how you guys come to that?
Oh, together? It's interesting because it's still developing, and production needs to know this. It takes twice as long. Right now, they're not organizing it as such. Oh, no. But every setup is right now, because you never know what's going to emerge, because you've got 2 performances, and right now it's as we're developing Mother Norma 2, and the writers are just, you know, are structuring her and building her, and she's surprising them as well. So it's not 1,000% concrete, and so we're just getting to know. I'm just getting to know her. But the fact is, right now, also, it's this is what makes editing, in particular, Mother Norma, so exciting, I think, for the directors and the editors and the showrunners, because they have lots of options. Because you're going to see Freddie playing her, you're going to see me playing her, and then combining those 2 performances based on nuance and integrity and earnesty and invention. Like you never know, but it's difficult, those scenes. And it's competitive. Because essentially we're playing the same character. Yeah. You know?
Are you trying to out-crazy each other?
At times we're trying to out-subtle each other. At times we're trying to, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's that spirit. I think I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a sense of special. I can only speak for myself. But at the same time, there's this true collaborative spirit, because we got to come up with this stuff together, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And just deepens the intensity of our collaboration, because as you can imagine, up until now, we're best friends. Yeah.
Do you ever get jealous of the fact that the other character of Mother that you still play gets to wear a different, flashier wardrobe?
I love it. To me, it's just a big old costume box they dip it in. I love looking dowdy. I love looking, sexy. I love looking prim. And there's all of that in there for me. So I'm just like a kid dipping in her costume box. And Monique Prudhomme is just, by far, hands down, the most genius costumer I've ever worked with. And so it's a pleasure for me to come to every day. The first thing I do is step in the trailer and just see these magical outfits sitting there waiting. So I don't know.
Every single one of Norma's dresses.
I'm surprised there's not a line out already. Wait till you see this season. Wait until this season.
Perfect.
I think our costume supervisor just made herself a Norma dress and wore it to like some big event in town with her. And it was the exact one that I just wore in episode 405, which is one of my favorite dresses. Spoiler alert. But there is another one out there that might be for sale on eBay if you can twist her.
Do you think these scenes where Norman goes full Mother work so well because of how well you have worked with Freddie over the years?
I think I would like to take that credit. Yes, I think it's one part him and one part me. I think it's a lot of part willingness. In terms of talking about chemistry. I'd like to think I have chemistry with every actor. I am so affectionate with hands up all across the board, and you're going to see some new couplings this year that I'm particularly excited about. Within the Bates world, I know that sort of the crankshaft rotator is always Freddie and I. With those, we're the main bearings. That sort of pivot on each other and grind up against each other, and so obviously the show's built around that. But all these, there's some new characters and some characters certainly from last year that Norma hasn't met that will come into her life, and it's a fun. But as I say, I'd like to think I have chemistry with everybody, but it's just because it's an astounding group of people, and I really do believe that chemistry is willingness. And it's just just feeding off. You get a nuanced actor, you get another nuanced actor, you put them together, and all of a sudden there's chemistry. You have to play off each other, and there's just such playfulness on the set at all times, no matter what strife we're shooting. It's like, and then add the crew onto it, which is kooky and hardworking. And wily and fun, and it just creates, in general, an atmosphere that is a playground. So that's part of it too, because we feed off. This thing is not just the actors. There's a sacred circle that happens. That is a camera operator, and focus puller, and dolly push, dolly grip. Those three guys are always in our faces and in our energy, and they also have a lot. Their energy is also. You feed on not just on the two people in the scene. There's a room full of people that you're vibing off of that give you ideas too. Anyway. And I love these guys.
What's Norma's relationship with the doctor? Because we only meet him like briefly in the one episode of the new. I know. Yeah, he's like, I'm gay. But I know he becomes more integral as the season goes on. Can you talk about Norma's relationship with him?
Yeah, it's hard to give over to someone, but this is the first time she's giving over the reins wholeheartely, and because she realized she doesn't have all the answers, and that's tough for her to do, and that's going to continue to be tough. But yeah, I think she does trust him. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful new addition to the show. His essence is just, there's a holiness he possesses that I think is so brilliant. That is a cool addition to the sort of Mad Hatter's Tea Party. It's cool.
We also saw sort of the seeds of where Norma and Ramiro's relationship will grow in the first two episodes with her big marriage proposal and his acceptance. So what can you talk about their partnership this season and how it evolves from
I think you're going to see that it's pretty complicated between these two, and it's complex, and it's going to become even more complicated. Sorry, there's Freddie Highmore wanting to FaceTime.
Hi, Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
So glad you could join us. He hung up
I got scared.
Where are you, Mother?
Adorable.
Look, I don't want to say too much about that. Everybody expects a certain thing, but I just got to keep reminding people that Norma has not had the best taste in men. And she's in a pattern. And we don't know that much about Romero. We know what we want to believe about him. We know what we yearn for them as a couple. But we're going to investigate that, and we'll see. But it is pretty complicated.
Is that last question?
Yeah. Having one son being institutionalized, is that a wake-up call for her with her relationship with Dylan at all? Like, that?
Yeah, I think this year, I think she's relied. She's come to a really pretty place in the relationship with Dylan, where I think that if there's one person in this world she really trusts and has relied on, I think it's become Dylan. And I think they want the same things. And he is stabilizing for her. And I think the fact that she doesn't like to be left alone, and I think Dylan is sort of discovering and working towards again autonomy and creating his own life and creating a version of his life and a family that works for him. And what does that mean for Norma potentially? It means she's being left again and she's being abandoned. And even though she's emerging so much wiser and stronger, she the defense mechanisms automatic is just in flare because she has been abandoned and she's been she interprets it more as betrayal and aloneness. And so that's going to be an interesting relationship to watch unfold.
Can we sneak in a quick follow-up?
Well,
I think it's really interesting that Norman tried to flip it on Norma and be like, you're the one who's crazy, which obviously we know she wasn't actually the person killing all those people. But would you want to see?
Was she?
Or was she? But would you want to see Norma get help? I feel like she's also unstable in a way.
I don't think she's unstable.
No.
I'm a very I really in defense of my character. I think she's as unstable as anyone in this room. I think put on to any one of us, the sordid past that she has got through. I think for coming through that, I think there's going to be an enlightenment this year that you're going to perceive and receive from my character that is going to be pretty darn cool to watch. And so I think that help is going to come in numerous different ways. There is a sage that shows up in her life, and it may not be in the form of a PhD, but he or she does show up, and is very influential in her life, and that is a gorgeous relationship to watch unfold. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.